One of the architects of the Chiefs coming to Kansas has finally sat down for an interview, and he did it yesterday with Fox 4's Malik Jackson in a piece that aired. And Malik overall did a solid job on this deal. But I got to tell you, there was one thing in particular that David Toland said as the lieutenant governor under Laura Kelly that should concern every Wyandotte County resident and, frankly, every Kansan. And it was a very simple question that Malik Jackson asked David Toland when it comes to tax increases and what this new stadium deal might ultimately look like for regular people.
The question now is for those in Kansas, understanding that increased sales tax revenue will pay for Star bonds, what will they be on the hook for when it comes to infrastructure and public safety improvements that no doubt will have to happen?
What you've got to look at is both sides of the ledger. So you've got costs, and you've got new revenues that come in. And what our study shows very clearly is there are more revenues that come with this project than costs. So this is a net win, a net positive for Kansas.
So can you say that Kansas will not see a tax increase?
What I'm saying is this is a net positive for Kansas.
That should be a very simple question to answer. If you are convinced that new revenues to Kansas will exceed the costs, then the follow-up to that is, can you promise no new taxes? You should say no. David Toland cannot say no. Because at least I'll give him this. He knows that would be disingenuous. He knows that would be an inaccurate portrayal of what this deal is really built on. And that is all roses and rainbows and promises. But when you actually dig into the numbers, it's not nearly as pretty. Unless you're abusing the intent of a Star bond, which is what happened here. Whether you like this deal or not, whether you're happy the Chiefs are going to Kansas or not, doesn't really matter. They have completely abused what the idea of a Star bond is supposed to be, which is we take an area of the state that otherwise would not have had this revenue, and for a period of time, we redirect those new revenues into paying off whatever the project is. But when you've encapsulated 300 square miles, including all of Wyandotte County and a large portion of Johnson County, because you have to do that to justify raising the revenues you need to pay off $3 billion in bonds, you've abused the premise of what Star bonds are intended to be used for and how they're intended to actually work. You will have the majority of this district that will not in any way be impacted by a new stadium, which goes to show you that the new revenues that you're adding actually wouldn't pay for the project. That's why you've got to include parts of Kansas that will not be impacted by the project. That's why you had to draw this likely Star bond district the way that they did. They're admitting in the details of the Star bond district that the project does not pay for itself. If the Star bond district was like the Legends and a few miles around it, I'd say, okay, that makes sense. That's fair. That's not what they did. And David Toland specifically gets asked, can you promise here no new taxes? And he says, don't worry, it's a good deal for Kansas. Don't you worry. Couldn't say no. Because he knew that would have been disingenuous. He knew that would have been a lie. So I'll give him that much. I mean, he didn't just lie through his teeth, but he couldn't answer a yes-no question in the way that the majority of Kansans would want to hear right now. But don't worry, it's all good. This is all great. Everybody should be happy. That's also the message. So they're talking out of both sides of their mouths here. That's what they're all doing right now. Laura Kelly's doing it, and now you've got her Lieutenant Governor David Toland, who is one of the masterminds behind this whole deal, doing it. And this whole thing continues to reek of inside dirty politics.
So he said it was a net gain, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so guess who's caught in a net?
Yeah, the rest of us, that's who's caught in the net. You're right about that, John. So he also had this message to Kansans. This is David Toland on Fox 4 last night.
My message to Kansans is it is a massive win for our state economically, to have the Chiefs. It is a massive win for our state in terms of our domestic and global image as a place to do business and as a place that's on the map, having the Chiefs. And this is also a massive win when you look at how divided our country is and all the things going on right now. In Kansas, what you've seen as it relates to growth is Republicans and Democrats have come together to do big things.
Oh, we're so divided. But don't worry, the Republicans and the Democrats came together to screw the Kansas taxpayer. Oh, boy, isn't it so beautiful? Oh, at a divided time, we made sure we all came together. Yes, because crony capitalism doesn't have a political bend. They're all part of the game. That's it. But spare me the song and dance on, isn't it? It's so beautiful. Oh, what a beautiful project. Oh, boy, I just love the beauty of this whole deal, don't you? Yes, absolutely beautiful.
She's a real beauty.
No, it's not. It's not a beautiful project. Oh, instead of focusing on the riots in Minneapolis, let's look at this beautiful deal we set up in Wyandotte County. Before we talk about how beautiful anything is, here's what I'm going to be waiting for. Let's see what Bank of America and Wells Fargo do when it comes to the bonds and the underwriting of this deal. Bank of America and Wells Fargo are going to be the lead underwriters for the project. And we will then find out after they put together, what they believe this thing is worth and what they rate these bonds at. That will be very telling. And it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next week. It's not going to be next month. There's a lot that's going to happen over the next few months to get a feel for what these bonds are actually going to be valued at. And we do know that that's going to be led by Bank of America and Wells Fargo. And when I hear David Tolan talk about, our image completely changes. Domestically, it changes. Globally, it changes. I'm telling you right now. All right. The rest of the country doesn't care whether the Chiefs play in Missouri or Kansas. It's irrelevant. They're going to think of Kansas City. They are. So Missourians actually shouldn't be all upset because most people are still going to think about Kansas City, Missouri when they think of the Chiefs. So that should soften the blow for Missourians. And if Kansans think that magically everyone's now going to know that the stadium is in Kansas, sorry, it's not going to be the case.
Nobody cares.
It's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. On both sides in many respects. You think that parts of New Jersey have magically exploded because the Giants and the Jets play where they do? No, the area around there is an absolute dump. Been there, seen it, always has been, and likely always will be. Same like a lot of these stadiums that are not technically in the city that they seem to represent. It's not new. Cowboys do not play in Dallas. They play in Arlington. Does anybody sit there and say, boy, Arlington, yep, old Arlington, Texas? No, you think about Dallas. You do. That's how it goes.
The Boston Patriots were an original AFL franchise. They were one of the first ones to move out of the city.
Yeah, now they're down there in Foxborough, south of Boston. So this is not what David Tolan projects it to be. It's just not. And I know that he's got a job to do, but then the rest of us have a job to do to sniff out the BS. And I credit Malik Jackson for asking some of these questions on Fox 4. I think overall he did a pretty good job with the Q&A. But, man, this thing ain't passing the smell test one bit.
Star bonds. They're very nice and big over there.
Oh, the star bonds. They're big and beautiful. Big and beautiful. Big, beautiful bonds.
The most beautiful star bonds you've ever seen.
Yes, absolutely. All big and beautiful bonds. No doubt about it. And in the meantime, we'll see who's left actually holding the bag. It's going to be very interesting. Got to share this with you. This was David Tolan. He's the lieutenant governor in Kansas under Laura Kelly. He sat down with Fox 4 yesterday. Malik Jackson from downtown. I need the guy who was introducing the Chicago Bulls in the 1990s to introduce Malik Jackson on Fox 4. He sat down with David Tolan, and they talked about this Chiefs deal. And David Tolan was one of the masterminds behind it on behalf of Governor Kelly. I'm not saying mastermind in a positive or negative way, but he was just one of the masterminds. And here's part of this conversation that was actually very well done.
Playing devil's advocate, again, it's based off of research and looking at other stadium development projects across the country.
I've been doing economic development for 25 years, and I started my career in Washington, D.C. I got to see the economic power of a professional sports stadium and what that can do, not just in transforming the physical characteristics of a community, but in creating new economic opportunities for residents. And I'm talking about jobs.
Will there be work done? Has there been work done to ensure that those people will not be priced out of the place that they call home?
So, short answer is we're at the very beginning of a long process. And part of that process needs to be, how are we going to ensure that the residents who are there, the residents who have built this community in the first place, who are key to the identity of Wyandotte County, aren't priced out?
The answer is he doesn't know. We got to figure it out, but he doesn't know. And, these economic development gurus and, most of them don't know their elbow from their you-know-what. They're always full of it. Because what they always do is they figure out how to justify using some form of taxpayer monies for whatever it is the big project is they're working on. And the one thing he highlights there is jobs. You tell me what jobs we're talking about here, right? Let's talk about the stadium out in Wyandotte County. Talking about people serving beer 8, 9, 10, maybe 15 times a year for different events and concerts. Fine, maybe it's 20, whatever you want the number to be. I mean, are those really high-quality jobs that bring money into the coffers of the state of Kansas? Especially when, by the way, for at least the first 30 years, a lot of that money is just going to go in to pay off the stadium anyway. What economic opportunities are we actually looking at here? You tell me. It's never as big and grandiose as they promise, right? But it sounds good. The politicians make it sound really attractive. And that's about all they're good at with this whole deal. And then David Tolan said this about bringing a Super Bowl to Kansas City with Malik Jackson, Fox 4.
Wouldn't a Super Bowl in the state of Kansas be great?
It would be an amazing thing, and it's a coup not just for Kansas, but for Kansas City, for the entire metro. This is something we can't do in Kansas City right now. We simply don't have the facilities. And so in 2031, that's going to change. It's going to change for the better.
There will be a Super Bowl in Kansas City. There's no doubt in my mind. Well, I guess technically in Kansas, there will be a Super Bowl. I believe that. There will be a Super Bowl. Like one. And maybe that's worth it to certain people in certain positions of power. But I was talking about this last night. I was up in the Northland at the Northland Pachyderm Club meeting, and they've got a great organization there. They're really just getting off the ground on a grassroots level there. So look them up on Facebook, and you can reach out to them and join the organization. But I was saying, downtown Kansas City will actually benefit from a Super Bowl coming because there'll be a lot of events and hotels and things like that that'll be popping during a Super Bowl. So downtown Kansas City is actually going to do okay. They lose the tax burden, but they still have the downtown that, listen, will do very well during some big events like that. So it's not the worst thing in the world. In fact, you can make the case it's actually a good deal for downtown Kansas City, Missouri in all this. They will still benefit because they're the downtown hub of the main city that really anchors the region, while still saying, hey, there are questions about the deal on the Kansas side, right? Those things can both be true at the same time. But the notion that this stadium would be part of a Super Bowl rotation is just comical. Now, maybe you think that's worth it for a one-off event. I happen to believe it's not. And Super Bowls in general are not geared towards regular people. The NFL has that thing buttoned up to a T. It is as tight as could possibly be when it comes to security, who's going to these events, sponsor-driven, league-driven, TV partner-driven, not for regular people. Yeah, there'll be a fan fest. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can go, take a picture with a cutout of Roger Goodell, or you could maybe egg the cutout of Roger Goodell if you so choose. You could do that. They'll have like a couple of things for regular people, but that'll be it. For most folks, it's going to be out of sight, out of mind. It will be. I mean, I was working in New York when the Super Bowl was in New Jersey, when MetLife Stadium had a Super Bowl in like 2013, 2014, something like that. And I know that New York City obviously is bigger than Kansas City, but I'm here to tell you 98% of people had no idea there was a Super Bowl going on. It was the same stuff, same issues, same deal, day after day after day. It was not noticeable for most people because guess what? Most people are not a part of Super Bowl week. They're not. That's not how it's supposed to work. The NFL doesn't frankly want that. I mean, they make that thing as corporate as they possibly can and as exclusive as they possibly can. That's it. Steve's in KCK. What's up, Steve?
You know, Pete, I've been asking questions about city councilmen and politicians, and I even heard Laura Kelly say this. Whenever a politician gets asked, what do the citizens get out of it? What do the people of Wyandotte County get out of it? They can't give an answer. Laura Kelly's answer was, well, we get the Chiefs. You get the pride of owning the Chiefs. You get to be the envy of everybody in Missouri. So that's great. What, $3 billion gets me pride and envy? That's really what I want. You know, there's nothing in it. And on a side note, the mayor is standing her ground. She isn't just letting them come over and run all over her. I found this out the other day that she's standing strong. They're coming to us wanting their handout. What are we going to give them? And she's like, no, what are you going to give us?
This is Crystal Watson, the new mayor in Wyandotte County, right?
Right now, she's standing strong against them, and she wants to know what's in it for us, not what we're going to give them. What are they going to give to the citizens of Wyandotte County? And I'm going to give this mayor a chance. She's doing great so far from what I hear.
All right. Good deal there, Steve. You know, David Toland also in his Fox 4 piece yesterday, he was asked by Malik Jackson, can you promise there won't be any kind of hidden tax increase for Wyandotte County residents? And David Toland did not answer it. It was a yes-no question, and he said this will be a great deal for Kansas. Dennis and Bonner, what's up, Dennis?
Hey, Pete. Good morning. You talked about the rotation of the Super Bowl. Ask Detroit how it's worked out for them. I think 43, 45 years they've had 2 Super Bowls in their 2 dome stadiums. Minneapolis, the same thing. I think they might have had 3. That's part of the rotation. And a point I want to make is these politicians like Toland, I call him the seal man. If you remember him standing there behind Laura Kelly, clapping his hands,
the seal man. No, listen. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Keep going off on David Toland. I'm going to let you cook. Go ahead.
Blood pressure hadn't been over 130, over 70 for months. It went to 210 over 99 when I saw that seal back there clapping his hands. But my point is, after I ragged on him, thank you for letting me do that, is if I have my choice between a politician making these business decisions or a businessman making these business decisions, I want the businessman. I think maybe you might have stated that, or somewhere I heard that the other day about the governor of Missouri. He's a businessman. He's making business decisions. These career politicians, they shouldn't be making business decisions. And I'll shut up. Thank you for letting me vent.
All right. Thank you there, Dennis. I appreciate it. You know, Missouri had a very generous offer, too, but they were backed into a corner because of the Kansas offer, right? That's how this all went down. You know, you think about Super Bowls. Think about this. Jerry Jones has had a new stadium for what, 15-ish years? He's had 1 Super Bowl in a top 5 market with better weather and a brand new stadium. He's had 1, and it was back in 2011. There are only 4 cities who have hosted more than 3 Super Bowls ever. New Orleans, 3 cities. New Orleans, Miami, and then Southern California. That's it.
Below the Mason-Dixon line.
Yes. And then, the cities that have had 3, Tampa, Glendale, Arizona. That's it. Those are the 5 places that have hosted more than 3 or more Super Bowls. You really think Kansas City's going to be getting Super Bowls, once every 15, 20 years? You're kidding yourself. Unless this global warming deal is legit and Al Gore was right and we've got beachfront property come 2050, unless that happens and Florida's underwater and, the Ozarks is now the Atlantic Ocean, unless that's happening, sorry, we'll get one. We'll get one. That'll be it.